Elegies, a look at O Captain, My Captain, presentation by Kayla Thompson. The term poetic form refers to the various sets of rules followed by poems of certain types. This may describe rhyme scheme, rhythm, meter, tone, and much more. Poetic form can refer to the physical structure of a poem. Some popular poetic forms include ballads, sonnets, free verse, narrative, or its longer version, the epic, lyric, haiku, limerick, ode, and acrostic. We will be taking a closer look at the poetic form of the elegy. The elegy began its roots in Greek culture as the elegiac form and referred more to the meter of the poem than anything else. The elegy was written in elegiac couplets, which are composed of alternating hexameter and pentameter verses. It could deal with any matter, whether it was love, or battle, or death, or something entirely different. This definition would change and become more limited thousands of years later during the 16th century. This 16th century definition much more resembles our modern-day take on the elegy. Today, the elegy can utilize any meter, but is more narrow in its tone and subject. The elegy is written to express a broad feeling of loss and sadness, and is typically used as a lamentation for the dead. The form still refers to the meter used in some modern literatures. This is most popularly seen in Germany, where the classical elegiac form has been adapted to its language. Author and poet Rainer Maria Rilke extensively showcased this metrical form in his collection of elegies. But for the most part, the poetic form describes the poem's content rather than the meter. It is a poem of serious reflection, usually written to express sadness and praise for someone who has died. It is a song of sorrow and mourning. A prime example of the elegy is O Captain, My Captain by Walt Whitman. It is an elegy about the late President Abraham Lincoln, written in 1865. Unlike the classical Greek elegiac form, this elegy contains 3 stanzas. Each stanza can be broken down into 2 parts. The first 4 lines, composed of 2 couplets, which focus on the arrival of the ship and the celebrations occurring, and the last 4 lines, composed of what could almost be considered as 1 couplet, split in half to create those 4 lines, and is indented from the rest of the poem. These last 4 lines focus on the death of Lincoln and the speaker's responding emotions. Unlike the classical Greek form that used hexameter and pentameter verse, Whitman uses iambic heptameter in the majority of his lines. Iambic meaning it follows an unstressed then stressed syllable pattern, heptameter meaning there is a series of 7 feet in each line. Now let's take a look at the poem. O Captain, My Captain by Walt Whitman. O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But O heart, 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 O the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold, and dead. O Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills. For you bouquets and ribbon wreaths, for you the shores a crowding. For you they call the swaying mast, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on the deck you've fallen, cold and dead. My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object won. Exult, O shores, and ring, O bells. But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold, and dead. Following the qualities of the elegy, Whitman greatly expresses both admiration and sorrow in this poem. He sets up the admiration he has toward Lincoln by naming him as captain. He claims the people are celebrating for him and all of his achievements. He even states in lines 10 through 12 that all the festivities are for him. For you the flag is flung, for you the shores a crowding, their eager faces turning. Whitman also expresses denial to strengthen the despair of the poem. He states, "It is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead." He doesn't truly admit that he is gone until the third and final stanza. This creates a plea for him to be alive, adding to Whitman's grief. Sorrow is evident throughout the poem. Whitman is expressive with his emotions in reaction to Lincoln's death. You can hear his sorrow, especially in lines 5 through 6. But oh heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red. You can hear his disbelief and immense sadness. Like other elegies, Whitman creates a grim tone for his poem. It should be a joyous occasion. Everyone is celebrating, and the ship is anchored safe and sound. But juxtaposed with the death of their captain, the event seems grim and hard to enjoy with the cost of the victory. The lines in which he expresses the captain's death are further indented than the lines in which the celebrations are taking place, creating an emphasis on the death. This emphasis works to strengthen the grim tone. "O Captain, my Captain" is truly a lamentation for the dead. Whitman is passionate through his expressions, and his grief and sorrow is evident. He is aware of the joyous celebration, but can only linger in his sadness over the death of his captain. Whitman makes a strong claim for the admiration he and many others had of President Abraham Lincoln. He is deeply admiring of the late president, who was assassinated because of the causes he boldly pursued. The sailor and speaker of the poem is completely distressed because his captain is dead, despite the great victory the ship has achieved. Maybe it is because he knows that without their beloved captain, there would have been no victories and no cause for celebration. Whitman touches on the costs of battle. The sailor cannot find it in himself to partake in the other celebrations. If the costs of victory are so high, is there really cause for celebration in the first place? Thank you for watching this presentation of an in-depth look at elegies and the poem "O Captain, My Captain" by Walt Whitman.